We're almost 2023. It's almost the end of the year, and it's been almost a year since I moved out from my parents' home. I achieved more personal freedom, started a business, and created a methodology that now has helped several clients increase fluency in just a couple of weeks. And I am speaking about the Speak methodology, which we're gonna learn today, so stay tuned. I hope you're excited. Hello, it's Francisca from English to Thrive. Welcome back to my channel. So as you know, I'm an English confidence mentor, and I help tech-savvy professionals go from limited and frustrated to confident and fluent so that they can capitalize and say yes to more career opportunities in English. Now, in this video, I'll share my strategies that I've used from my own experience all over the years and my students have used inside my signature program, the English Confidence Method. So first of all, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel because I release videos every Friday on English confidence, and also give it a little like to help the algorithm and make this more accessible to English learners. Now, I've created a system out of years of me figuring out how to increase fluency without living in an English-speaking country, and out of the interviews of thousands of English learners that said to me, I'm tired of grammar. I have learned all there is from rules in a book, but I still cannot speak fluently and confidently. This is more targeted towards the learners that already have an intermediate level, but still struggle with fluency and connecting sentences in a way that is professional, and in a way that is sound, and in a way that really reflects a native-like English speech. And of course, if we divide the methodology and the plan in 20 days, it would mean that 4 days will be for listening skills, another 4 days will be for a practice, another 4 days would be for you stepping out of the comfort zone, another 4 days would be for you reacting to real life English scenarios and conversations, and of course the writing, which equals to great connections and professional impressions. Our action plan that will make you super fluent by the end of 2022 and beginnings of 2023 starts with sound and stimulation. So many people tell me I want to improve my fluency, and so I need to have one-to-one conversations with speakers, and yes, they need practice, but they couldn't be farther from the truth if they think that they will master fluency only by speaking. Listening is far more important than you think, because I lived all my life in a Spanish-speaking country without even losing my accent, without even losing fluency, because I really focused on listening to music, listening to series, listening to podcasts, and also learning in English and immersing myself in American and British culture. Every time I felt or I feel curious about something, I make sure that I either subscribe to a membership that I like, or I learned a course, but everything in the language, because the more that you listen, the more you will imitate that particular accent and sound. And I talk more about growing professionally and personally through sound in this video right here, so you want to make sure you check it out. But yeah, that is the base. And you also want to stimulate your ears through media, and you want to make learning and listening fun. So there are 3 types of listening that I encourage my students to engage in, and that one of them is background listening, which is basically the combination of sound plus multitasking. So for example, you can be doing some exercise, you can be hitting the gym and listening to music, you can be reading a book that you like and listening to a podcast, you can be driving and listening to your favorite influencer giving a talk on entrepreneurship or a something related to your profession. So it's basically you combining sound and some other activity. So that is background listening. And the other one is fun listening. So in fun listening, you listen to songs while also doing activities that promote vocabulary acceleration, that work on your pronunciation. For example, filling in the blanks and where you guess words. That's excellent for vocabulary acceleration. For example, rapping to a song. That, believe it or not, it sounds crazy, but it helps with you increasing fluency because rapping is very fast activity, right? And yeah, I love rapping. So it actually challenges you to pronounce all words in a fast way. And what is speaking if it's not you talking at a pace that's not necessarily fast, but that challenges you to think faster, right? So that's one other exercise, is rapping. Another exercise that you can do with the song is actually singing it out loud, right? And listening to your pronunciation afterwards. What you can do is also compare your sound to the artist's voice, and it's all about being creative and having fun. Okay, so the other type of listening, and I've talked about that kind of listening in this video right here, is intensive listening. So basically, intensive listening, what you do is you take an audio and you want to make sure that you concentrate, you focus, you even close your eyes, and you can do this with headphones, and you start analyzing structures, analyzing words, and analyzing how sentences are connected, everything that's related to how a native English speaker speaks. So you see how really sound is a very, very important component to your fluency. It's not only about you having chats with speakers who maybe don't have the best pronunciation and they're hurting your accent. The next 4 days, you are going to practice and practice hard and really work on your pronunciation. That's the P, remember. So I have amazing exercises that I make my students do. So we basically have a plan that's longer than 4 days, but for the purpose of this video, let's say that's 4 days. So what you would do is engage in shadowing. Now, I talk about shadowing as an exercise to think less in your native language and more in English in this video right here. I'll make sure that I link it below. But it's essentially an exercise where you become the shadow, where you become the person that repeats what the native English speaker says. So let's say that I say a sentence like this one. I'm just like everyone else in the world when it comes to struggle and heartache. So what I would do is, I'm just like, and then I repeat. So it's at the same time that the native English speaker is enunciating. What this does is it creates a challenge because you have to make sure that you don't distract yourself from the audio and you keep on saying the words at your own rhythm. And so this fills your brain with words in English, which makes you less prone to think in your native language. And this will in return increase fluency. Now, this week alone, I've been interpreting, and shadowing is actually an exercise that us as interpreters and translators do a lot because it increases our agility. It makes us agile speakers. And of course, when you interpret, you listen to an audio not in the same language but in a different language. So, and this week I've been in conferences and I've been having to listen to Spanish pretty fast and then interpret it to English. And it can be tricky because, as I said, you can easily get distracted from the audio. And what you have to make sure is that you convey the message in the other language in an assertive way. But that's a whole other story. The point is shadowing is great. Now, the second exercise that you're going to squeeze into your 4 days is the everyday imitation exercise. Okay, so I came up with this term because basically imitation is a well-known technique in language, and it's about you imitating and repeating and modeling how native English speakers speak. So it's different in shadowing because it's actually not at the same time, right? It's like, again, consecutive interpreting, where you listen and then you repeat after the sentence has been said. So for example, I could have a phrase like, I'm just like every other human being. and then I imitate. I'm just like every other human being. I have pain, I have loss, I experience anger and fear. So I have pain, I have loss, I experience anger and fear. And it's very important that you not only repeat the words, but you repeat the intonation and you pronounce and enunciate the words as they are. And you also, if there's an exclamation, if there's interrogation, you repeat it, because that's how communication works. You cannot be a robot. You have to express sentences with feelings. And so I called it everyday imitation because I know that for English learners it's so important to speak everyday language. And so that's how the everyday imitation came to be. And my students love it. They actually use many phrases. I make them repeat in interviews, and they have passed the interview successfully because of this. So if you want the everyday imitation audio, make sure you check out a link below, because you can download a free audio in which you can train yourself to speak like a native English speaker. And now, pronunciation as well. So I made a whole video in which I really play around the top 15 English sentences. You can check it out here, and I'll also link it below. But I basically created a pronunciation system based on my own experience, which is again based on sound, memory, and the in-between vowel state, where you have a word. Again, let's grab the book again. So confront, okay? So confront. You want to make sure that this is not a con, this is not a can, it's like between the A and the O, confront. And you want to make sure that you accentuate the T. If, again, do not forget to check out the latest video that I did on pronunciation. But yeah, you want to make sure that you stop looking at tables that are going to confuse you, but base a lot of your pronunciation in sound. And again, sound is so important. That's why it's the first thing on the methodology, because again, when you listen is what you end up pronouncing. Now, you don't have to have the perfect pronunciation, but it's very important that your pronunciation does not interfere with your daily communication. Sometimes I hear English speakers, non-native English speakers, that have a very, very hard pronunciation to understand, and that can really affect negotiation, that can affect sales calls, that can affect deals, many things that are not going to lead you to specific outcomes that you want. So you have to be very careful. All right, so let's take a look at the E. Now, the E is very much unusual. It has nothing to do with speaking. Well, yeah, with speaking, but not with English so much. So I called it expression and experience. Why? Because communication is not only about verbal cues, right? It's also about nonverbal. So you want to make sure that when you speak, you act confidently, you have a great posture, you express yourself with confidence, and that's why it's expression. And the experience is because to get to a specific goal in English, you have to make sure that you step out of the comfort zone. Now, this is very, very rooted with my story, but I used to be a very, very comfortable person. I used to procrastinate because I had a lot of anxiety. And so it wasn't until I stepped out of the comfort zone and I felt the pain and the fear of really speaking in front of an audience and really putting myself out there in professional settings. It wasn't until I did that and I felt the fear and did it anyway that I really started to grow. Now, my purpose for you is really growth through English. It's not about the language, it's really about the experience. And that's why I really want you to, next time that you have a speech, that someone invites you to a meeting in English, you say yes and you act on it, because that's the only way that you're gonna grow. Are you with me? Okay. So the A, it stands for, it's kind of long, but let's resume it on automation, which is an automated speech. Now, as a non-native English speaker, I know that many learners struggle with reactions to real life conversations. And so what my students do many times is they listen to audios and they react to real life situations. So let's say that you're at an airport, right? So let's pretend that someone's asking you, well, I'm late, sorry, do you know where the 23rd gate is? And so I've heard many situations in which they just stay blank and they just get nervous and they just cannot communicate. And so automation is for when you already have learned a lot of vocab, you already have fine-tuned your listening skills, and now you are just left with creatively answering to questions that are really asked in real life. Let's just say that you're in an interview. This is a real question from a student that she told me that the other day that she was asked. So how do you see yourself in 10 years? How do you see yourself in 5 years? You have to have the creativity and the spontaneity to really excel at giving an answer like, well, it's a really tough question, but I really see myself in a top position at your company because I'm a leader and I have amazing soft skills that can really contribute to your company's growth. But if you don't have the reactivity, that spontaneity to answer, then you may lose the opportunity of a lifetime. You may lose a job interview. So that's why this part is so important. Now we've come to your last 4 days, and that is the K. And that's the part that students dread the most, but it is equally as important, writing. I made a whole video on writing professional emails. Here, you can definitely check it out. It's gonna show you how to write emails in under 5 minutes, but as I said before, great writing equals great connections. If you don't know how to write in English, you first of all will lose a lot of time in the office, and you won't know how to get specific outcomes in the workplace either, because what if someone wants to ask you about a meeting and you either have to use Google Translate or you take too long or you simply cannot answer, then you will lose relationship with that colleague. So you have to be very careful. And I know there are tools like Grammarly, but sometimes those tools are not guaranteed. Once a student of mine told me, well, they're actually removing that tool. So what if you don't have Google Translate? What if you don't have Grammarly? You have to feel confident in your writing as well. So I'm very passionate about content marketing. I write all my content myself. So what's important to know is that in every text, you need to have an intro, a body, and a conclusion. So if I write a LinkedIn post, and I suggest that you do that, like next time you immerse yourself in texts written by native English speakers in LinkedIn, and you'll see how they have an intro, which could be a headline, where the actual goal is to hook you into reading more. The body has to be very concise. It has to be filled with storytelling. And the conclusion is really a call to action. So there are many entrepreneurs nowadays that invite you to book a call, invite you to have a conversation, to get more clients. But you see how writing can also be a great tool for your professional growth, because it can make you more connections. And you don't have to be an entrepreneur for this. My students are professionals. So they need to write letters to employers in Canada. They need to write emails at the workplace. And the templates that I give as well inside the method really agilize and really make writing faster. Now, you can start by reading books and noticing structures. Some will be simpler, some will be a little bit more complicated, but this is for you as well, to memorize structures and register them in your brain so that you can become more fluent as well. See, writing is not only about words, like written words. It also helps you to become a more fluent speaker, because the faster you write as well, you become more agile in communication. Now, it's been very symbolical for me to report here because, as I said, almost a year to the date, I moved out and I also created this methodology. So I hope that this was so useful for you and that you take this action plan and you increase your fluency. Let me know in the comments below if you're excited, if you're going to implement. And make sure you also give it a little like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And again, what better way to end the year and start a new one than taking action on achieving your English confidence goals. So I do want to invite you to check out the link below, because I do have an application only program called the English Confidence Method, where you really go from feeling limited and frustrated in growth to absolutely confident and fluent so that you can capitalize on career opportunities. We cover this whole strategy, and you get my own mentorship and guidance supporting. You get also a like-minded community of professionals. So you make sure you check that out. Above all, I really want to wish you Merry Christmas. Yes, I'm unwrapped on purpose to wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Definitely be taking a little break. I deserve it, and I know you too. So I wish you the best, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one in 2023. But who knows, maybe I just maybe I'll upload a video. It's a surprise. Bye bye.